All right, so we are live and let's turn on the lights. Today I'm going to talk about, do piezoelectric transducers have a minimum like drive requirement? Like you have to drive it above this amount of volts, this many volts in order for it to start moving. And below that it just like stuck. There's like this frictional force that it gets stuck and it doesn't move at all. Um, and the answer is no. For piezo ceramics, for piezoelectric materials, there is no minimum drive amount. There's no threshold above which you have to exceed to get the thing moving. There's just no threshold, and the reason there's no threshold is because um, the piezoelectric phenomenon is a microscopic event. It's not multiple. It doesn't have this external friction going on above which there is a movement starts, or you have to put like over this much pressure in order for voltage to start being generated. If you put 1 nanonewton of force on your piezo ceramic, you will get charge developed on the electrodes according to the constitutive equations, the same you would get for a few newtons, excluding nonlinearity, which occurs. But nonlinearity is also like continuous. It's not threshold based per se. So there's no minimum threshold. This actually gets confusing to some folks who are measuring displacement visually on their transducer. Like they see, like, okay, I have to go above 10 volts in order to start seeing some movement. That's not true. That's just because your measurement tool cannot detect lower than that. There's a big difference in your measurement tool not being able to do it and your transducer not actually moving below that voltage. And you can also just think about the impedance analyzer trace. Think about that trace. Um, let's ruin my shirt here. Think about that impedance analyzer trace, um, where you have this electromechanical response, the resonance and anti-resonance. This resonance is actually mechanical, and you're only usually using a low voltage, like 1 volt or something like that. Let's say we talk about fields, but let's just talk about bulk transducers. Let's say it's nominally 5 or 6 millimeters thick, the ceramic or so. So you're still getting this resonance, anti-resonance phenomenon. All these mechanical phenomenon are occurring. So yeah, you have to have movement. This is the reason why this occurs, is because you have movement in your ceramic. You have that mechanical oscillation. So yes, there's no minimum threshold, but you may find that mm, uh, practically in the phenomenon you're looking for, it does have a threshold. For example, if you're building an ultrasonic cleaner, there is a threshold of acoustic pressure above which you'll start getting cavitation, and below that you won't. Although your transducer is oscillating, there's pressure, there's acoustic waves going through the water, but there's not that phenomenon that you're looking for. Or maybe an example where there is actual friction. So you have your transducer and you're trying to push something, or it's trying to slide against something, let's say, and you have to exceed that frictional force, but that's an external frictional force. It's not internal to the transducer. So if you have a bolt clamped transducer, a Langevin transducer, there's no minimum voltage needed to get it to start moving. If you can measure an impedance analyzer trace, you are getting some type of resonance phenomenon occurring in that device. So I'm just going to leave you guys with that, because it's a basically there's no internal friction or threshold that's keeping the phenomenon from happening. All right, so this was episode number, I think, 63. Oops, I lost that number. But yeah, my name is Hussein Shakani. I have a consulting company, Ultrasonic Advisors. If you need help in development of your ultrasonic transducer, feel free to look in the notes, and you'll have a link to my website there. Look forward to your comments and questions on this topic. This is a common misconception that it takes a certain amount of voltage or pressure for displacement to start, or for charge to develop. It's simply just not true. So go forward in the world with that knowledge. Take care.